Hello and welcome for another review of Dragon Ball Super, episode 22. In this episode, a lot of awesome, almost awesome, could have been awesome if expounded upon things happened in this episode. This was episode 22. And just like before, we're just going to go over the main bullet points and some points I want to talk about. So, let's start with Tagoma. Everybody was all hyped up, me included. The last video was called, effing Tagoma. So obviously I was excited as all craziness for this next episode for Tagoma. And Tagoma was, okay, let's be honest. Tagoma, so basically the way it works is Frieza's trained his body to the point where he could just take any beating and just get nothing from it. He's like, I don't even feel it. He just starts wrecking Piccolo's face as Piccolo fights him. So essentially, Piccolo did take the place of, Tagoma did take the place of Shisami, as in he fought Piccolo. And he ripped his arm off, as they showed in the last preview. And it was awesome. Tagoma was looking like a beast. And then Gotenks comes in, and the one place that Frieza did not help him train, the moneymaker, let's just say, I ain't talking about his face because he ugly as fuck. He slammed his head into Tagoma's moneymaker, we'll just say that. And that was how Tagoma was pretty much taken out. Even Frieza was like, get up before I kill you. You're disrespecting me. Also want to mention one thing. It was kind of funny. He's like, don't worry, Sorbet. I'll let you be my gatekeeper once I'm the commander. You bitch. Anyway. So that happened. And Tagoma was just like, he was knocked in the frickin' you-know-whats. Gotenks just did him in. And that's Tagoma. Like, that's how he was beaten. Like, Tagoma was only beaten because he didn't train his balls. Now, Captain Ginyu obviously was in this episode, and he was a frog. He writes on the floor, and what he writes is change. Tagoma says change. He changes with Ginyu. Now Ginyu is in Tagoma's body. Of course, he makes his little poses. He goes up to Frieza saying, "Oh, Frieza-sama, I'm so glad to be able to work for you again. Oh, it's amazing." And Frieza sees Gotenks and is like, well, this is interesting. And then the two split. I think the thing with Ginyu happened after that. But anyway, we're just going here and there. But Goten and Trunks split into two people. And Frieza's like, oh, I guess they were two people. And then he realizes Goku looks a lot like this little boy. And Trunks looks a lot similar to somebody he recognizes as well. And it was Trunks, obviously, from the future. And he was like, more Saiyans? He was mainly pissed that Saiyans were thriving on planet Earth. He wanted them wiped out. He was like, he couldn't believe that there were more than just Goku. Because remember, at this point, Frieza doesn't even know that Vegeta is alive. He thinks that he killed Vegeta. So, now he does recognize Trunks as the person. I don't like this part as much, but it's kind of, done differently later on, because when he sees Trunks, he sees Tagoma on the floor down. He's like, Tagoma, go kill them right now. Kill both of them. He wants nothing to do with either of them, which I don't like. I was really hoping that. Also, Tagoma, why are you gonna read what a fucking frog writes on the floor? Are you that stupid? Tagoma. Well, I guess Tagoma's a frog now. Let's just go there. Tagoma's a fucking frog now. So fucking frog is what I should call this episode, because that was the extent. Tagoma was looking so great, and we don't get to see him anymore. He's gonna be a frog, and I guess he's taking Ginyu's place, whereas he is now a frog. He's gonna be roaming around as a freaking frog. Tagoma is a frog now. He's Ginyu's. He's the Ginyu frog suddenly. Okay, so now it's the Tagoma frog. So I guess that's what. I don't know if he's gonna get his body back. I doubt it, but that happened. So Ginyu is alive. Frieza did mention he remembered Trunks, but he didn't do anything about it. And To be fair, he was distracted because Ginyu came up and he starts to tell him his story about how he turned into a frog, how he came to Earth, all of his trials and tribulations that he went through. And I thought it was kind of funny, even though this is technically quote-unquote filler. Bulma mentions that she remembers Ginyu referencing the time when he switched bodies with her, which I thought was funny because that's technically not in the manga, but Super is kind of, if you want to say, canon to the original Dragon Ball story, but it's at the same time the manga is an adaptation on the anime, so the anime and the manga aren't necessarily the same canon, but they are. It's a weird thing, and the things they add in the anime is more canon than things they don't have in the manga. It's just weird. But that was that. I mean, it was okay. I was a little disappointed that he didn't do more with Trunks. Ginyu goes about beating the crap out of everybody, and his body. He doesn't know how to use Tagoma's body, but at the same point, he doesn't really have to. He's not a Saiyan. He doesn't have to unlock his potentials or anything like that. And his body's already basically hard as stone, or more than stone, maybe adamantium, I don't know. But his body's already hard as shit. There's a lot of Frieza soldiers just hanging about too, doing nothing. Those guys are lazy as fuck. Do your job. I know you suck, but come on, do something. Crap. But Captain Ginyu goes on, starts to beat up all the Z fighters. Gohan steps up. I thought it was interesting as Gohan is fighting Ginyu. He says that because he hasn't been keeping up with his training, that he can't do anything, really. He's not that strong anymore because he's getting his ass handed to him. Then Gohan turns Super Saiyan. Oh yeah, this time Bulma offers Whis the ice cream with with Trunks and Goten. And Jacko's just like, I don't know what's going on with these people. They're freaking crazy. They just don't understand. So we cut to Beerus eating pizza just like he did in the movie, except this time he wasn't interrupting Vegeta and Goku's training because Goku and Vegeta are in that place, which we'll talk about in a second. But he does still enjoy his little pizza. Man, does anybody else want pizza? The food on this show, all the animations go into the food. Like, this is like the best looking food I've ever seen. Dragon Ball Z's food didn't look this good. It's crazy. And Beerus is like, they need to get stronger to play with me, which I thought was funny. Like, he's like, I want them to be strong fast so that I can fight them. Pretty much. So Vegeta and Goku are in that place. As it turns out, you can't move unless you put your ki inside your body, as we mentioned last time that they needed to keep their ki and their body to maintain their strength or whatever, their ki, maintain their ki. So they do that, and then Goku relates it to dun dun dun, the Room of Spirit and Time, or the Time Chamber if you are a dubby, which a lot of famous YouTube Dragon Ball specialists, Rhyme Style and like, were speculating it was going to be like that. So time here and time on our time is different, meaning that time that flows in our time, who knows, maybe like 6 hours just passed there. We don't know the exact amount like we do with the Time Chamber, but we do know that this is where they develop their SSJ Blue, or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which, yeah, that's a long name. This is where they develop it, which, if they develop it now, because we know for a fact they don't have Super Saiyan Blue right now because they haven't talked about it, they haven't mentioned it. But in the movie, they make it seem like Vegeta and Goku has unlocked this form long ago. And in this case, they're literally... Well, we'll talk about that later. But Goku and Vegeta are in that place. I'm guessing they're going to start training. I don't know if we're going to get to see that. But then we go on back to Gohan and fighting Captain Ginyu. And Captain Ginyu's just wrecking his face. It was quite amazing. So Gohan goes Super Saiyan, and it says that he can't keep the form very long because he hasn't trained, so his ki's going to be lower. He's basically, for right now, Gohan Super Saiyan is Super Saiyan 3, pretty much comparatively to that, because he can't keep it going for very long. His current body can't maintain it because he hasn't been keeping up with his training, which he actually says, which might lead to something. I don't know. Hopefully it means him training and getting better. I don't know. We'll see. But he basically wrecks Ginyu's ass, which makes complete sense because Ginyu, in Tagoma's body or not, he's not equipped to deal with a Super Saiyan. He never was. He could barely beat Goku back when he was impressed before he turned Super Saiyan. So of course he can't do anything. Though this is the interesting. This is where the episode gets freaking good. When Gohan destroys Ginyu, he's looking back at him and he's saying, he's saying, you've had enough. You better get out of here now while you can. Basically saying he's not going to kill him. He's letting him get away. Now, this shocks Frieza. This is what I expected something to happen similar to Trunks, but they save it, I guess, for this. Because Frieza sees this, and he's reminded of basically the moments before he was a dead man on Namek, where Goku was like, you're done. I'm tired. I'm done with you. I don't need to fight you anymore. You're weak. Because Gohan basically said the same thing. I don't need to fight you anymore. You're weak. Go home. Go away. Come back when you're stronger, basically. And this sparks something in Frieza. It reminds him exactly what Goku did, where he gave him some of his ki before he turned his back and said, you're not worth fighting anymore. Get out of here. And this pisses Frieza off. Straight up. So Gohan gets a shot to the chest. I don't know if you say chest. Maybe it was the arm. He gets a shot to the chest, and Frieza goes on. This is dark, and this is dark shit. This is dark shit. You didn't expect it because it wasn't this dark before. But Frieza starts to talk about torturing Gohan to the point where he's almost dead, and he just wants to see Goku's reaction when that happens. So he starts to shoot at him with laser beams from his finger. Of course, Piccolo and Krillin want to step in. Tagoma / Ginyu says, no, leave him alone. This is happening. You can't do anything about it. I thought it was funny that Jack was like, I'm not looking at this. This is too gruesome. And Frieza just goes on to torture Gohan, shooting his limbs because of how much he hates his father. He wants to hurt Gohan because he is a Super Saiyajin. He even says, run away like the insect you are. Then he adds, run away like a Saiyajin, basically calling Saiyajins insects. Peons compared to Frieza. This is insane. He is torturing Gohan. You can hear Gohan's cries of agony and pain the whole time. And Frieza's like, you dare not stand in front of me. I will murder you. To the point Gohan loses his Super Saiyan. And Frieza's mocking him still. He's like, you can't move anymore. If that's so, then plead for your life. Not that I will spare you anyway. And he goes about to go up to Gohan. He goes, gets ready. He puts his finger out. A big beam starts to form on his finger. It looks like this is the end for Gohan. Stop for a second. Let's talk. This is already more intense than the movie, which Gohan's already technically died once here. He's about to die again because in the movie he was saved by Piccolo right after. That was the only time anything happens with him and Frieza. This time Frieza goes, he shoots the beam. Gohan's brother is screaming, no, brother. Krillin's like, no. And then a la Saiyajin Saga, back when Nappa did it, oh my god, Piccolo jumps in front of Gohan's body and takes the blast. It was so amazing. The feeling, the feels. You see Piccolo dead on the ground. I'm guessing dead. I don't know. Near death. He has to. He has a freaking hole in his chest. It very much reminded me of when Gohan was a kid, and in the Saiyajin Saga, Piccolo took the blast for him. It was such an amazing moment, and it just made this. I was just saying, oh my god, the entire time, because what we just witnessed has completely changed. This is actually making Frieza look like a threat. He nearly killed Gohan and possibly killed Piccolo. I couldn't believe it. It was insane. Like it was freaking crazy. I'm still unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. As I watched it, I was like, oh my god, the whole time this is not happening, because you could actually feel something when Frieza's here. In the movie, the joke seemed to be that Frieza thought he was higher and mighty, when in actuality he was nothing. In this, Frieza is a threat. He has nearly killed Gohan, and he kills Piccolo. It looks like he kills Piccolo. Anyway, that's this episode. In the next episode, the cavalry arrives. Goku and Vegeta, they get told finally that they need to get down to Earth. Apparently, Whis checks his messages and he sees something from Bulma and them. In the preview, it looks like Vegeta is going to get the kill on Tagoma, so that might be his little victory. I don't know. This is going a lot different. I don't know. The next episode, I'm really looking forward to. I was looking forward to this episode, but Tagoma was kind of a disappointment in this episode. I hate to say it. It was awesome seeing Ginyu back. I was surprised to hear that they reused his voice because I didn't know if they did that in Japan or not. I always thought it was kind of dumb, but I actually liked it here because it lets you know that this was Ginyu. It was really kind of cool, even though he totally took Tagoma's spotlight. It was really cool to see Captain Ginyu again, even though he was totally out of his league. Once Gohan went Super Saiyan, it was over. But I just couldn't believe it. This episode was insane. Like, he didn't really react. Frieza didn't really react with Trunks as I wanted him to, as I'm sure a lot of us wanted him to. But he reacted with Gohan in a way that I was not ready for. I was just in awe the whole time. And the next episode, it looks like he's about to kill Gohan again, and that's when Goku and Vegeta shows up. So I'm thinking next episode is going to be very Goku and Vegeta heavy, so we may see a little bit more of them in the time chamber. Well, not the time chamber. The sort of like time chamber thing that they got going on. But I don't really know. Because it looks like from the preview that they come in and save everybody. And as Dragon Ball Super works, usually when the cavalry arrives is in the title, you know that's the last thing that's going to happen in the episode. So I'm thinking you're going to see some more stuff with Gohan, with Goku and Vegeta, and maybe get close to seeing Gohan die. It looks like to me Gohan's going to stand back up and he's going to basically show resolve. I can't wait for that. It's going to be a very heavy Gohan episode, I think, next week. At least character development wise. I think people who are fans of Gohan are really going to get a kick out of seeing him stand up to Frieza. And it looks like Vegeta gets to have his revenge on Ginyu. So that should be fun. Frieza's going to transform. So this is nearing the end of the Resurrection F saga. It's exciting because next thing is new, all new. This episode was practically new, though. I was a little disappointed that Tagoma didn't do much, but this episode was great. I freaking loved it. The action was really nice. It had enough action to keep me satisfied. I'm not sure why Gotenks defused so fast, except for plot. But it was cool seeing Gohan being different. Like, he says he hasn't trained and he's suffering for it. He gets tortured by Frieza, shows Frieza the Frieza that we remember from Dragon Ball Z. If you don't know, well, I don't know why you're watching Super. If you've never seen Dragon Ball Z, you'd be really confused. But if you don't know about Frieza, then this episode gives you an idea that this dude is kind of a dick. I don't know. It was a great episode. I'm excited for next week. I'm sure you are too. That's my review. Peace out. Dr. Tran out this business. I think I'm going to call this one fucking Ginyu, fucking Frieza, fucking Gohan, fucking everybody. Good night.